We have a patient here who has long-term antibiotics, over a month worth of antibiotics and PPN that needs to be delivered, which is going to be caustic to the smaller veins. However, nephrology has asked us not to access the upper extremities, so we're only going to access the IJ here. We're going to tunnel it out for the long-term access. Now, the patient has a looping EJ. This is very inconvenient because we can't tunnel with traditional tunneling, or else we're going to perforate that EJ, and that's going to be a big problem. So we're not going to do that. However, we are going to do a pseudo tunnel, needle subcutaneous tracking, basically needle under the EJ and try to get to that IJ spot. Okay, so let's take a look at the anatomy and see what we're working with. We're going to try to visualize the IJ, the target first, and then we'll worry about the rest of the other anatomy. So let's figure out where we're going to go. So there's the IJ, nice and prominent. I don't see any. Okay, so let's take a look at the anatomy and see what we're working with. We're going to try to visualize the IJ, the target first, and then we'll worry about the rest of the other anatomy. So let's figure out where we're going to go. So there's the IJ, nice and prominent. I don't see any. So we could tap that from the skin right there. And I don't see any other, besides the muscle, I don't see any other issues here. Okay, so the EJ is right there. So you can see that the EJ is about, I don't know, 1 to 1.5 centimeters apart. Let's actually measure that. Actually, we can measure it right here. So from here, from that center, we have about a, let's move, yeah, the edge of the IJ, it's about 1 centimeter to the EJ. And so what I'm going to do, and I'm looking for any collateral tissue or objects that I don't, or tissue that I don't want to perforate with the needle when I'm tunneling. So it looks like I can go under. There doesn't seem to be another structure. Oh, maybe that one right there. No, just a shadow. Okay, so let's make sure looking at it long view. Actually, let's check it biplane. So we have the EJ here, and we need to tunnel underneath it. So we have the EJ here, and we need to tunnel underneath it. And I see a vein underneath. But it's more inferior. So let's see, worst case scenario at this junction. So we have about a 0.8, about a 1 centimeter distance. We don't need to go too deep, thank goodness. So once I tap the IJ here, I'm scanning it, there's a small collateral vein there that looks like it might conjoin. that EJ. But it's to the side, not under. Oh, it's a little bit underneath, so we have to be careful with that as we're tracking the needle. And again, superior. So what we're probably going to do is tap the vein here. And from here, we're going to tunnel out to right about there. So I just want to make sure that when I'm needling, because I'm going to needle this way, probably actually this way to give it a little bit more curvature. I'm going to needle this way. I'm going to go underneath and make sure I dip really deep and go underneath. So I want to, before I hit this plane of the EJ, before I hit that plane, I want to make sure that I'm sub 1 centimeter. So I need to make sure I'm underneath, and I'm going to bend the needle probably ahead of time. And then we're going to try to continue on. I see no other objects that will get in my way. And then we'll hit the IJ from here. Okay. And then we'll use the 6.4 centimeter angiocath. So what I'm going to do is start close to the IJ, right next to it, so I know that I'm not going to hit it. Actually, probably about 0.5 centimeter back, and then we're going to enter that way. And then we're going to 6.4. It's barely making it. With that angiocath, it can curve with the veins, so I think that's going to be the move. So we'll do that. So that's about that's gross. About from the 4.5 to 5 centimeters where I'm going to enter, and then we're going to enter into here. And then we'll remeasure for the subcutaneous tracking afterwards. Yeah, I'm going to put a wedge under her to give me more room to needle that tunnel. But let's take a look at what our anatomical measurements are going to be. So if I'm going to try to end here, and then we'll remark that after we clean it. Our EJ's here. We're going to have to needle from here, and then we'll probably tap it at about here. And we're going to go underneath and hook underneath that EJ. And then what is going to be our final length of the catheter? Now, if her EKG and her P wave, which I saw her 12 lead, had a very prominent P wave, we're not going to have to worry so much about the measurement. But let's do it now. Get a good, actually, yeah, because we're tunneling, we need to get a good clear measurement of our location. But this is a tricky one. We can't tunnel it out to here. And I'm going to have a very hard time inserting from down here low because of the clavicle and the EJ. So we're going to have to go from here, tap it this way, and then tunnel it out to a safe exit site. Okay, so you want to measure from your intended exit site. Let's see, from here, it does dip down a little bit to about, let's say, 18 centimeters. And then 1, 2, 3 intercostal spaces lends us at about 28 centimeters. 28 plus the secure cath, 1, 2, 3, 31 centimeters. So let's try that again. I like to remeasure, especially for something like this where the measurements make all the difference. Let's say from here to here, still at about 10, let's say 11 centimeters. From 11, 20, 1, 2, and 3. Let's try that again. That was a little bit different. So we got here to here, it's about 10. From 10 to the right clavicular joint, about 19. From 19, 1, 2, 3. So I'm getting about 29 I'd say 29, 1, 2, 3. So I'm getting 32, so 31 or 32. I like to, because I have a secure cat, I can actually afford to be longer. So we're gonna shoot for 32, let's make sure. So from here to here, let's add 11 because of the turn. It's still about 20, 1, 2, 3. So we have about 29, let's say 33. Yeah, let's go with a measurement of 33. So we commit to that, and then let's get prepped and started.